to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi everybody, welcome to New Life Live. It is Steve Arterburn here with Milan, Yerkovich, and Dr. Alice Benton, and your phone calls. Hi guys, how are you?
Good, Steve. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. It's a new month here, and really, we all know that this is the month that ends in Halloween, so that's always an interesting time. And but anyway, we'll make fun of Halloween all through the month. So we've got a theme here, so that'll be awesome. Anyway, glad everybody is joining us. And Milan, are you healing or are you not able to do anything? What's the status on you?
Oh, well, that was a good announcement or a way to get that out and over the airwaves.
Did you not want anyone to know that you ailed?
I don't mind, surprise announcements like that. It's just perfectly fine. I had ankle surgery 2 weeks ago today. And so it was very successful. I tore some ligaments. They repaired them, put them back together again. And so it's a 12-week ordeal. But, hey, first world problems. It's so nice to be in a place where you can get things fixed and repaired and with competent individuals doing that.
No kidding.
So I'm great. I have no pain. I'm doing really well. I just need somebody to help me drive because I got this big old thing on my right foot, just wouldn't work well, on the freeway. I don't trust it yet.
Very good. All right. Well, glad everybody's with us here. And, there's a weird thing called satellite outage. And this is a taped program. And we're still in the studio for 2 hours today, just so you know. So, but anyway, one of the things that we love about working with Milan and Kay is our Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. And that's happening this month, October 25th, 26th, 27th. And Milan, there's a great price reduction still, right up until October the 12th. People that are in Club New Life, even more of a discount. And just tell me what you hope would happen when somebody comes, and I'll throw in my 2 cents.
Well, when we are looking at 48 hours from Friday midday to Sunday midday, people come in apprehensive. They are scared. They're tentative because they tried so many things before, and they're frustrated at what is happening in their relationship. So at some level, pain has brought them there. And what we say, and you say it too, Steve, is pick your pain. The pain of staying stuck in the same repetitive negative core pattern or the pain of growth. And so I believe that with our small groups, the therapy groups, and the therapists that are working with the couples, and with your lectures and Kay's and mine lectures and demonstrations, they have a lot of new things to pattern after and learn. It's a retraining, Steve.
It is. It really is.
My marriage always gets an upgrade when I go and work the weekends as a group leader, but I get to sit in the education sessions, and I always learn more to apply to my marriage.
Good. Plus it's entertaining, too. Don't you think Steve's funny?
We have some good laughs at this weekend.
You guys are funny, too, but it's deep. Okay,
I'm funnier, actually. But.
Yeah, you are. My motto later in life is 30th time a charm. It used to be third time, but it's harder to retain. But I'm going to tell you something. If you've been to other marriage experiences, this is different.
Very.
It could help. And if you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, there are some opportunities to go free. It's a unique situation. You can see that on our website at newlife.com. But no matter how much it costs, you will not be disappointed. It'll make your marriage a lot better. We'll be back after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Columbus, Ohio, October 25th to the 27th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. We're going to Susan. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is she listens on WBYN. Hi, Susan. Welcome to New Life. How are you today?
Hi, thank you. I'm very, very nervous. What I want to talk to you about today is a very fresh wound. So,
oh boy.
I guess I'll get right into it.
Okay.
My daughter called me yesterday, and we have been planning her wedding for May 30th of next year. And she found out that her fiancé has been cheating on her. Just to give you just a little bit of background, she lives in a major city here on the East Coast. Her fiancé moved to it's New York City, from the East Coast. Hasn't been able to find a real good job. She is successful in her job. They're 31 years old, and she has invested 6 years into this relationship, and they have been living together for the last 4 years.
Okay.
I have many questions. I don't know what to do for her. I feel most of what needs to be done by him. He says he still loves her. He said he has excuses, like he's not happy in his job. He hasn't made friends here in New York City, and so on. So I just don't know how to advise her.
Right. Okay. So I'm just going to give you my 2 cents, and then I'm going to turn it over to Milan and Alice. The pain of this far exceeds the simplicity of what she needs to do and the difficulty of it. So while I think what needs to be done is simple and obvious, it doesn't really fully show how much it must be painful to you and to her and all this. But first thing is, she should totally not marry this guy. She should break off any idea of him being married to her. Because if she does anything other than that, she is saying to him, if you get in a bind down the road and you feel like having a little affair to cope with job loss or stress,
right,
whatever, I'm not going to leave you because I knew you did that before I married you. So that's the first thing.
Right.
Second thing, she needs to move out. Third thing is, now if he's already living there, then she should break the engagement and not move in with him there or whatever if they're separate. And then the third thing is, you need to get her into some grief therapy, doing some grief work to get over this, because this is not under any circumstance the way you want to move forward with someone. Now, when she breaks it all off, let's just say all of a sudden he goes to Every Man's Battle, he's in 3 groups a week, he's repentant, remorseful and all that. Hey, a year from now, maybe they could have a conversation. Most likely that's not going to happen. But I got to tell you, anything other than you must stand against this at all levels. Value yourself. Make the decision. Don't listen to anything he says. Here would be my question. He says he's got all these excuses and stuff. You know, what's he done to help himself on his own in the meantime? You know. Right. So let's get Milan's 2 cents and Alice what they're thinking about this. Okay. Alice, you have a thought?
I do. Mine is going to piggyback on Steve's because I think he's given you fantastic advice. And to help her move through this, I'd ask you to really validate how much pressure she must feel to stay with him and even to get married to him still. And that she may not take this advice we're giving very easily or very well, and she may even disagree with it. So validate that for her. Validate her emotions without having to agree with her decision if she does stay with him. Also, I want you to be cautious about giving too much unsolicited advice. It really helps to ask her permission first. Of this is what I heard. I think it'll be helpful. Can I give it to you? And if not now, can I give it to you later? So allow her some power in that of how much information you give her. Lastly, it would be so easy to badmouth the fiancé. But I'd be really careful not to if there's still going to be a future with him while calling out the behavior that you're seeing, but not bad-mouthing the man himself.
All right. Milan, you have a thought here before we...
Well, I do. Susan, I'm so sorry. This is a very difficult thing for you to go through as her mom, and it's your oldest daughter. I'm going to take a little bit of a different take on this whole thing. They're in their 30s, and I would want to know how desperate your daughter feels.
Well, yeah.
Desperate for a relationship because they're in their 30s. She is the one who is apparently the most successful or more successful financially.
Yes.
And that puts her into a caretaking role of being the one to float the boat, if you will, in their new home, or in their married home. And so I would really... as Alice just said, I would ask her, so honey, what are you going to do? What have you decided you're going to do here? And I would wait to see what she was coming up with. But then the advice I would give her, Steve's point is good. Grief recovery would be great, but she's also codependent. And there's a codependency here, and there's also a desperation, and I would really want her to examine how desperate am I, because she's been with him, you said 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
And that's a long time to not have somebody make a commitment to you. Yeah. And to then, and I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but it might be that he pushed for them to live together, and that also stands for we're having sex together. And so I don't know where she's been pushed, you see, and why she allowed herself to get pushed. And I would really, really take that tack because Steve and Alice are right. You see, this is going to set the stage for a completely unhealthy future relationship. So just a thought.
Right.
A few thoughts.
Okay, so here's a question. Go ahead.
Really, there is no hope at all for any future relationship unless he does a whole lot of work and
over a whole lot of time. Yeah, over a whole lot of time. Not next month.
She's got to do work too. You see, she's got to. Why am I getting in this relationship?
Let me tell you, kudos to my daughter. Already today, she's seeing a counselor this afternoon.
Great.
She knows. But at the same time, I agree with everything each of you said. She has been an enabler, and you said codependent. But
same thing.
Would I also be corrected in calling her an enabler in some of his behaviors?
Yes,
totally.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a quick question here. As a mom, fill in the blank. The reason my daughter is so desperate is... Why do you think she's so desperate?
I think because she's 31, she's invested 6 years in this relationship, and she wants to have a child.
Great. So here's the thing. You got to help her see that 6 years has not put her at age 50. She's 31. Okay?
Right.
She's 31, and it's so great to discover this now. Secondly, you want to have a child with a person that your child can respect.
Right.
And moving forward with him now enables him to continue versus you break it completely off. Just my advice. I mean, I'm just my when you break it completely off, you get to see what he's going to do, and maybe there's something later. But where's her dad? Is her dad, does he have any influence on her at all?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
he should be calling the boy, the man.
Okay.
And saying, I know this is horrible. I see what's happened, but I want you to know, as a Christian man, I want to help you in any way. What are you doing? How can I help you? All of that. So that he's feeling not like he's been by the Christian faith thrown under the bus, even though he's done some really crummy things like get her to move in, but that he's got somebody that is really caring about him, and your daughter will admire that. If she cuts it off, but Dad is really trying to put something into his life, that is a nice little balance there. I'm so glad you called. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you Worthy of Her Trust, and I'm also going to send Take Your Life Back, because both of those are things that she needs to know about, and she should give him the book Worthy of Her Trust. And anything short of him going to every man's battle and getting this undertow quickly is kind of, to me, it's kind of a lame attempt at taking care of this. And I am really glad that she found out about the unfaithfulness before the marriage. Some of the most courageous people in the world stand before the folks at the church and say, I know you're here to see us get married, but we're not. And since we rented the recreation hall there for a dance, we're going to go ahead and have a party, but there's not going to be a wedding. I mean, really, and it just saves you a lifetime of pain. Let's go to Corbinathan. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Corbinathan from Dallas. XM. Corbinathan.
Yes,
that's
sir.
A beautiful name. Wow, awesome. How can we help?
Thank you. Okay. I'm wondering, I haven't been married more than 6 months, and lately it's happened like 4 times. My wife has been withholding sex from me, and it's very painful and rejecting, and I don't think I would have got married if I would have known this would be in the forecast, So I don't know if I can take a lifetime of living like that either.
So what's the question for us?
Are you there?
Yeah.
So the question for you is, I don't know if I can take a lifetime of this, and if I divorced her, which I don't want to because I love my wife, but I mean, if this is the way it's going to be, some women, they act like that. I didn't sign up for that, and I'd rather leave than deal with a lifetime of dealing with that. So is that biblical for me to leave for such a reason?
Well, let's let Milan get us started here, because I think a lot of people are in the same situation, and they want to know what are grounds and what aren't, and there's another really big issue here.
Well,
so,
Corbinathan, I'm going to take a little different tack here. There's a difference between withholding sex and saying no. Do you see the difference? Do you hear that there's a difference between those two?
To me, they sound the same.
Oh, well, sure they do. But then
explain.
Well, I will. You see,
okay.
Your wife is a person with a mind, will, and emotions, and then she has this thing called a menstrual cycle, and it takes 28 days, and there's over a dozen hormones that click on and off around 28 days, and she doesn't feel the same sexually on every one of those 28 days that you do. See, you have one primary hormone, that's testosterone, and it's always on, drip, 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 drip. It's always there, and sex feels the same, exact same every single time. So what you have is a mismatch in desire levels based upon natural levels of physiology, as well as emotional states, physiological states. And what if she's just saying, no, not this time? And what if, and by the way, you can hear the music, so we're going to come back after the commercial. What if, let's just say, and we haven't asked you yet, let's just say, because I had a guy tell me this once. He said, I have a great marriage. And I said, great. He says, you want to know why? And I said, okay, tell me why. He says, because we have sex 3 times a day. See? So I don't know what you're asking of her, and we're going to come back and we're going to answer that right after the break.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and Milan's talking with Corbinthian and really hoping that we've got some good insight. He's saying, is it my wife's withheld sex 4 times in 6 months, is that grounds for divorce? So Milan, keep going here.
Well, the answer is no, it's not a grounds for divorce. Let me answer that, take that off the table, because it is, that's why I'm drawing the distinction, Corbinthian, is it withholding sex, or is it saying no 4 times in 6 months? So, and again, I don't know what the frequency is. You're asking her to have sex, and
what is it? Can you help us understand what's going on a little better?
Well, I'm not quite sure myself, and I don't want to jump to conclusions and think that she may be cheating on me or something like that. I haven't even bothered to ask or anything. I'm gone a week at a time on the road, and to me, it's like a slap in the face to be gone a week at a time and then be withheld from, Mm-hmm. And I got married to be morally clean,
Yeah.
And living God's will. And if that was the case, then I would have just stayed single. You know what I mean? I could have got with anybody. Then I would have been unchaste again.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't have been bound. Like I am now.
Corbinthian?
That's what's really irritating to me.
Corbinthian. Hey, let me ask you a question. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about this thing with women, that they have this strange need to feel connected before anything gets before there's anything intimate, especially physical. And it's just really weird, because us guys, we just don't have that need. We just, you have desire, urge, all this. Well, or most guys don't, until they refine some things.
I do.
But there is, Milan has that need to connect. And as you get more mature in relationship, you do. But here's the thing. If you come back from a 1-week trip and you have been distant to her, it is not an unrealistic expectation that she'd want to be connected emotionally, want to have many conversations with you. She wouldn't want to just be seen as a relief or release valve after a long trip. So you connect with her and you show her, I value our relationship, not a body part. You might have a totally different result.
Yeah, it sounds logical, and I also think about it like this, and might be wrong thinking, but I've seen it with women. They will use sex to get you, but once they get you, then they withhold from you. So it's like it was a bait and switch type thing,
Corbin, have you thought about, with all these thoughts that you have?
That's the way I think about it,
Have you thought about, rather than is this grounds for divorce, have you thought about what the two of you could do to fix the problem? You suspect her of being unfaithful. You suspect her of using sex to lure you in, and then once you're lured in, you got a lot of stories there in your head about her, and so I'm not hearing healthy. Hey guys, how could we make this better? Versus, how do I get out of this thing?
Yes, I know it's wrong. My thinking is wrong. I'm gone like a week at a time, like I said, and I left frustrated because of the withholding as well.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to tell you what I think you need to do. I think you need to have a conversation with her. Tell me about how you feel when you don't want to be intimate with me. Have I done something that set that up? Do you feel like I'm more interested in sex than I am a relationship with you? Are you willing for us to get some help for this? Those are the kind of questions and conversations you need, versus rejecting her, having a story in your head about her, wondering about her. Everything is so negative. And I'm just wondering, I don't think it needs to be. Alice, you have 2 cents here before we move on that might help him.
Corbin,
from a woman's perspective.
I'm really glad that you are pausing to call and ask instead of charging forward with an accusation against her or even pursuing divorce. I know you want to slow down and think this through. I think when she says no, it really puts salt in the wound of rejection that I think you've experienced maybe over and over again in your life.
That's
so
right.
her no probably feels like an enormous, very painful rejection. And probably to survive rejection in the past, maybe you've run from it. Maybe you've dropped the relationship and moved on. So I would ask you to bring your pain to your wife. After having asked her what Steve proposed, Milan developed this fantastic way of conversing called the comfort circle. And it's a way to listen and hear each other's pain in a way that's healing. I wish you would admit to your wife that you feel rejected and ask her to comfort you. I also think you're putting the pressure on her to keep you morally pure, and another person can never do that. A wife can never do that. So if you've struggled with sexual integrity issues, there's a stronger path, and it's through what we can provide at Every Man's Battle. Whether the book or the weekend, she's not the one to keep you pure, but we can equip you to stay pure.
Because you want a marriage to be more than just about sex. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
Last year, after Every Man's Battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw, not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. Glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Alice, you at the break said you wanted to give a little word here to women about this whole situation.
I do think we can fall into the trap of withholding. And we can even just get too busy with life and with children and not take into account our husband's needs. And I think we wives need to be very proactive and cognizant of this, because so often our libido is much lower than our husband's. And our children need so much from us that we can kind of replace them into our husband's spot and not give him the nurturing and the love and the care that he also needs. So I call all of us women up, whether it's we get a medical check to check our own hormone levels, or we stay accountable with other women who love us and understand us, and that we need to be very cautious about this aspect of our marriage and not punish our husbands by withholding sex when we're unhappy with them. So we all have a calling, and it's not easy for us to fight this battle.
Well, and just I love your thoughts here, but to add another thought to that is that the benefits of a sexual relationship at whatever regularity the couple decides to set it up, oxytocin is released to both people in their brains, the male and the female, and it's a bonding hormone that occurs for both people. And so there's a benefit of bonding and mutual care and love. And so it's not just for the guy. It's for both people that there is something that bonds and glues them together. I tell people at our workshops all the time, a lot of women forget they're married when they have kids. They just, and I love your point, but it's for both of us that we do this thing that God has provided for us called sexuality.
Well, something that happens at the weekend and also in your book is we all get educated on how to speak about this, because many of us are embarrassed. We don't want to use the words. It's hard to talk about our needs and desires or to ask for something different from our spouse. But Milan, you and Kay do a great job of making it safe enough to talk about it.
And sometimes my face turns red. Turns wet.
That's mine too.
So the sexual part of a marriage, it isn't just about having sex. There are amazing benefits when it works. And we've said before, more bad sex doesn't help the situation.
Right.
If you're stuck in this area, you get some help so that you can come out on the other side experiencing the upsides of bonding, and nobody's holding a grudge, nobody's using it as justification for anything else, and you're not using it as some kind of achieve this goal, and then now I'll reward you. That's a horrible thing. That's a mother-son or a father-daughter kind of situation there. All right, let's go back to the phones, and I want to talk right now with, how about Joanne, Washington, D.C., WAVA. Hi there. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
How can we help today?
Well, I'm having a problem with getting over quite a few emotions about something my husband, not so much what he said as opposed to when he said it.
Okay, what happened?
Well, I'm sorry. I lost my mother 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
We kind of knew it was coming. And she was in her 80s, so, and we know she's with the Lord now, so I'm grateful. And I was with her, and I was there with her a week prior and spent a lot of time with her, and was with her when she took her last breath. So I was so grateful for that. So,
sure.
But so my husband had driven me down the week before because we didn't know how long she had. She actually exceeded hospice's expectations and is their new record holder.
Okay, so tell us what's so hurtful that he said. We got to get to the question here really quick.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so he went and dropped me off, and the following weekend he came back with my children, and she passed away hours after they had come to see her, and so then later that evening, my daughter and him and myself, we needed to go to the store to pick a few things up, and he said, well, we split up to do some things, and came back with a bunch of frozen pizzas, and I'm like, hey.
What did he say that was hurtful to you? What did he say that was hurtful to you?
Well, he said, because I told him that my brother said, hey, he's got a bunch of those at home, we don't need to get those. He gets really ticked off whenever he's suggested that you might want to think otherwise. And he kind of acts like a baby. So as he walked away, he just took him out of the buggy and started to walk away. I was like, well, don't leave him here. And my daughter picked him up, and we're walking out of the section where we were, and he comes up behind me. He said, if I could afford to, I would divorce you.
Okay. All right. So this was right in the midst of the pain going on with your mother, right?
Yeah.
What has happened since then?
Yeah. About 3 hours after.
Oh, my goodness.
I lost my mother.
Joy.
Okay. And so what's happened with him and you since then?
Oh, he's tried to be like everything's normal. He met us out at the car because he just left his buggy parked, for us to pick it up and pay for everything. And he met us out at the car, and he said, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. And I just looked at him and said, what you said was nasty. And that's all I said. And
Joanne, this is not the first time he's talked to you this way. Is that right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. But this was the height of
course,
the lowest, nastiest time.
Okay, so
anytime there's a stressful time happening, anytime there's a joyful time happening, he will create some petty problem that the focus is on him.
Alice, what do you think she should do?
Narcissistic thing.
We get it. It's horrible.
Joanna,
what do you think she should do?
Of course it's good on the spiritual level that you want to forgive so that you don't carry a burden of resentment and anger towards him. But I also want you to be patient with yourself, given your mother's so recent passing. I mean, that this is so fresh right now. But I'm also concerned that you may tend to try to forgive and forget your husband's cruel words, maybe over and over and over again, which in the long run enables him to continue to treat you in this way. We are called to forgive, but Joanne, we're also called to protect ourselves and to call out a pattern of evil that's ongoing like this. This is just...
I've forgiven a lot. I've forgiven pornography. I've forgiven so much. I mean, he hasn't had an affair, but
at
you know
some
what?
point... At some point, though, forgiving becomes enabling him. Yeah. It becomes enabling, and this was a very painful thing to say at any time, much less then. What should she do, Alice? What do you think would be good for her to do?
Well, now is the time, Joanne, before the next incident of him threatening divorce like this or any of his next unkind words, I would ask you to bring up, this hurts me so much and it hurts our kids when you talk to me in this way. We need help because I am for us and for our family and for our marriage, but we can't let it continue this way. Joanne, let us connect you with a therapist in your area. You can set an appointment and let your husband know, we've got this day and this time. I am going, and I hope you'll come with me so we can get out of this. We can get out of this rut and this pattern together.
Hearing the kind of pain that you're in right now says to us, you can't just keep forgiving and letting this go. It's ripping you to pieces, and he needs help. He's not being the man he wants to be, the man he can be. So something needs to change, and if he's unwilling to get any kind of help, then you may have to decide that, we need to separate because I can't expose myself to you saying what you really feel and then apologizing after you've hurt me so badly.
And if the kids are hearing this is tearing them up too and leaving them in a state of stress and fear about what will happen. And I suspect, Joanne, that you forgave the pornography, but that it is likely ongoing.
Oh, it's huge. And he needs to go to, he needs to get that taken care of because you're just a thing to him, or he wouldn't talk to you like you're just a
and also, I think Joanne learned early in her life not to have a voice with people that were harming her. Or threatening her. And that would be another question that Joanne needs to ask.
Okay. How We Love, coming your way. We'll talk about that in a second.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. They'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. It's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. I'm going to send How We Love to her because, you were talking about learning early on not to have a voice with certain people. Well, here is a book that helps you understand how that might have happened and what to do about it and how you end up in marriages where somebody says, if I had enough money, I'd leave you. Oh, my goodness. Good job of creating maybe the most hurtful way to say I'm staying married to you. I can't afford to divorce you, but hey, we'll just keep you on Oh, my goodness. All right. 1-800-NEW-LIFE if you need some help. Let me tell you, we need some help. We need your support. First day of October. Here's our gift to you if you join Club New Life at $30 a month. I'm going to send you 4 amazing devotional books. 100 Days of Character, 100 Days of Peace, 100 Days of Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. These are beautiful. They're well done. They're leather-like, and they're great for you. They're great for gifts, too. A gift of any amount, I'll send you the new book, 100 Days of Healing. These are amazing devotionals, our way of saying thank you for supporting us and helping us to reach other people with truth for every, just as we're hearing here, unique situation that comes up. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to help us, or if you need some help. And don't forget, you can get $400 off per couple if you signed up for the Intimacy and Marriage Weekend. It's in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. It's driving distance for so many people in the heartland. Do it now. Call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Every marriage thing we've talked about here, people can transform that into something pretty spectacular, but you have to come and let us help you. Ron, Kansas City, listens on Sirius XM. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Well, how can we help you today?
Well, I have a concern about my wife and spiritual, I call it spiritual infidelity. The situation, her ex-husband was sick with cancer and went into remission. This was about 8 months ago. Well, now the issues come back up. It's returned, and her daughter, who's grown, she's 38. Her daughter called and asked her mother to take care of her dad's medical, overseeing his medical, because she's a nurse, not an oncology nurse, but a nurse nonetheless. And I talked to her about it, and I told her that I didn't feel comfortable with her being at the bedside of another man, being married. So
to you.
I go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
married to you, not just another man. It's
me.
you she's married to. Yep. Okay, so what's the question for us?
Well, how long do you stay when dealing with issues like this? Because I told her that her daughter was very disrespectful to the institution of marriage, for even asking, and then it came out that he asked the daughter to ask her. And so I talked to her, and I said, well, if you feel like that's where God would have you to be, and that God would bless you being there, by all means, then go ahead. But please don't be secretive about it. Let me know so I can prepare myself that you're with another man. Well, she went on multiple occasions, I found out, or has gone on multiple occasions, but did not tell me. And
what's the question for us then?
Well, I guess my question is, what's too far? I don't know if you can answer that question, but
that's all you want to know is what's too far, and then if it's too far, you're going to leave her or you're going to divorce her?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a really obvious question here. Have you thought about getting some help for the marriage rather than just divorce her?
I have. We've talked to our pastor, his wife, on several occasions, and I'm one that believes in vows, and I made a vow before God and to her, and she doesn't want to live by that, I guess.
Well,
so it feels like I'm in a marriage by myself.
It feels like to me that talking to your pastor wasn't enough help. That's what it feels like to me.
Ron, has your wife been unfaithful in other ways? Has she had other emotional affairs or even a full sexual, physical affair?
That I don't know.
And have you suspected? Can you not trust your wife in general in this area before this came up with the ex-husband?
I don't trust her because they're so connected. They had a son that was killed 18 years ago, and they've stayed connected as friends and what have you. But, I don't trust him. and now I don't trust her.
You know, what I'm hearing here, Ron, is two things. Well, there's a bunch of stuff going on here, and this is not an easy question. But I'm also hearing that you're, and I want to be careful in my choice of words, that you're threatened by this arrangement. And then I'm going to throw in another word. It sounds like you're very easily threatened by this situation, or that. So I wonder, in the past, where have you been betrayed? Where have you been, someone was, sort of tell you one thing and do another? I'm wondering what your threat level is. It feels very high, and that's a factor here. It's just not all her fault. It's because she's doing something that's very interesting. By the way, Ron, I have a cousin who did this exact thing. She went back to help her husband in his end-stage cancer and walked him through his death. She wasn't married at the time, but nonetheless, it was her former husband. And so I just want to address for a moment your threat levels. And we don't have a lot of time, so just tell me if that's a factor.
I don't feel as though it is. I've dealt with her and him in their friendship for 5 years. That's how long we've been married. There's other issues with enabling of adult children and things of that nature, and she's very deceptive. She hides things that eventually comes out, and I'm just a firm believer that God doesn't leave us ignorant to things. If you just trust Him, then He'll show you some things through a spirit of discernment, and so. When asked about it, she'll confirm it once I ask her about it.
So Ron,
that's not the type of relationship I want.
Ron, if you told her, I found out you visited your ex-husband more than you let me know, and I'm struggling to trust you, and I want to be able to trust my wife. This is a problem for both of us. Would you go to get help with me about this issue that I am struggling to trust you? Please go with me so we can get help together. What would she say?
What would she say?
Yes.
Or would I?
What would she say?
What would she say?
What would she say? Yeah. She would say that she doesn't need any help. She's very narcissistic.
Okay, so Ron, I want you to answer it, but I need help. I need help because I'm struggling with trust, and it scares me and it worries me about our marriage.
Yeah. I wish we had more time. We are literally out of time, and I think both of those questions need to be asked. What would you do rather than get help? What would she do? And then you need to tell her you need the two of you to get some help. Try to pull her in. Try to win her back. You guys sound like strangers in the same marriage, which can happen. A lot of things we've dealt with here in marriages can be dealt with in a weekend. October 25th, Intimacy in Marriage. We've talked about sexual integrity. That's this weekend, Every Man's Battle. It's this Friday in D.C. Come join us for that. We want to help you, but you have to call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Hold on. If you're on the line, we've got another program coming.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.